Parting ways with him turned out to be the gravest error I ever made. Not everything that appears better on the surface is truly so. Sometimes the apparent lushness is merely the stench of a distant sewage. I encountered my former spouse, Dave, during our college years, precisely 6 years ago when we were both 22. It would be an understatement to say that our connection ignited instantly. Sparks flew fiercely between us. In less than a couple of years of our courtship, he proposed and I gladly accepted. Dave, a remarkable individual, possessed intellect, humor, and an abundance of creativity. His passion lay in the realm of digital animation, envisioning himself as a modern-day Walt Disney. The eloquence with which he described the intricate worlds he crafted and the captivating characters that inhabited his mind left one in awe and wonder. His unwavering determination centered around securing a position in his chosen field once we completed our studies. However, the challenges of entering the world of show business, particularly in animation, became apparent soon after we tied the knot. In pursuit of our dreams, we made the momentous decision to leave behind our beloved Washington state and relocate to California, seeking proximity to the bustling hub of Hollywood. While I pursued a career in education and became a school teacher, our aspirations continued to shape our journey. He eagerly embraced various odd jobs and undertook freelance animation projects, hoping to establish a connection with any of the prominent animation studios. Initially, I understood the challenging nature of breaking into the industry, and I maintained an optimistic outlook for the first couple of years. However, as time passed, my optimism gradually transformed into pessimism. The high cost of living in Los Angeles weighed heavily on us, and the combination of my modest teacher's salary and his sporadic gigs proved inadequate for long-term sustainability. As time went on, my impatience regarding the stagnant progress grew increasingly overwhelming. Impatience gradually transformed into resentment, permeating every facet of our marriage. 3 years passed in this state of uncertainty, with glimmers of hope for a breakthrough that ultimately fizzled out. Nevertheless, he pleaded with me, urging that he must stay committed to his plan, assuring me that diligent efforts would eventually yield results. I witnessed this belief reflected in our mounting pile of bills, which we struggled to keep at bay, barely managing to stay afloat. Throughout this period, our relationship took a sharp nosedive. To say it fell off would be an understatement. It felt more like a tumultuous tumble into an unfathomable abyss. Dave's once aspiring dream had morphed into my personal nightmare, and being in his presence became unbearable at times. Every waking moment was consumed by what I deemed his foolish projects, leaving little room for anything else in our lives. Indeed, we went on dates and spent time with our friends, enjoying each other's company. However, I found myself increasingly affected by Dave's struggles to establish himself in the animation industry. Witnessing his career stagnation began to weigh heavily on me. In an attempt to channel my frustration, I resolved to dedicate myself to regular workouts at the gym. And that's precisely what I did. From 2018 to 2019, I religiously committed myself to gym sessions whenever I wasn't occupied with work. That's where I crossed paths with Kevin, a true native of Los Angeles, a genuine Cali boy. When I began my gym journey, I wasn't in terrible shape, which likely caught Kevin's attention. It all started with the usual playful banter between workout partners. As I made noticeable progress in my fitness goals, his interest in me became more apparent. Deep down, I understood his intentions, yet I allowed it to unfold without intervening. I found myself deeply discontented with my life alongside Dave, and consequently, I found solace in the attention Kevin offered me. Dave couldn't help but notice the physical transformation I was undergoing, and he expressed his sincere appreciation for it. However, I ceased reciprocating that affection towards him. Instead, I began looking at him with disdain, a realization that in hindsight, he did not deserve. I resorted to seeking affection and intimacy from Kevin, an act that I now recognize as terrible and reprehensible towards Dave. Regrettably, it wouldn't be the last time I would betray his trust and hurt him in such a manner. Over time, my connection with Kevin grew stronger. Before long, our interactions extended beyond the gym, evolving into full-fledged dates. I resorted to deceiving Dave, fabricating excuses about hanging out with colleagues from work while I spent evenings at Kevin's place. It's disheartening to admit that those evenings involve more than just casual activities like watching TV or discussing workout tips. Unbeknownst to Dave, he remained oblivious to my infidelity. While he was aware of my dissatisfaction with our relationship, he tirelessly worked to make me happy, putting forth tremendous effort to mend our bond. Unfortunately, I responded to his genuine efforts with indifference, offering him no reciprocation or emotional investment. When I eventually mustered the courage to express my desire for a divorce in August 2019, it came as an unexpected and devastating blow to him, hitting him with the force of a metaphorical truck. I conveyed to Dave that I could no longer wait for his dream to materialize. I expressed my desire to start a family and explained that considering our current financial, emotional, and mental state, I couldn't envision a future where I could have that with him. Dave pleaded and begged for me to reconsider, questioning why and how I could make such a decision. While I did experience a twinge of guilt as I knew I was leaving him for Kevin, I genuinely believed in my heart that this was the necessary step for my own well-being. In our mid-20s, we found ourselves grappling with the harsh reality that perhaps our paths were not destined to intertwine. It was in that uncertain space that I sought solace, weaving excuses within my mind. Aware of his ability to recover, I resolved not to obliterate him amidst our impending divorce. Residing in California, I made the conscious decision to refrain from unleashing destruction. All I requested was an equitable division, merely seeking my fair share of the assets I had contributed throughout our union. Given our modest living arrangements in a humble one-bedroom apartment, devoid of significant possessions, the spoils of separation were bound to be scarce from the outset. Unbeknownst to our friends, families, and even my estranged husband Dave, a clandestine figure named Kevin existed in the shadows. What Kevin didn't realize was that I was already married and navigating a turbulent phase in my relationship. Ironically, it was Kevin who persuaded me to sever ties with Dave and embark on a new journey with him. In November 2019, I finalized my divorce from Dave, taking small steps towards embracing a future intertwined with Kevin. However, fate had a different plan in store for us, as the arrival of COVID in California abruptly halted our progress and brought life to a standstill. Upon reflection, I came to the stark realization that my decision was a grave mistake. The disparity between spending time with Kevin and actually sharing a living space with him became abundantly clear. Without delving into specifics, I was struck by an overwhelming sense of longing for the endearing gestures that Dave used to make, which Kevin simply didn't appreciate. Whether it was the whimsical diddles Dave would sketch on post-it notes and strategically place in areas he knew I frequented, or his unwavering habit of bringing me sustenance while I toiled away on academic papers, those were the aspects I sorely missed. Gradually, the accumulation of minor details began to take its toll on me. Furthermore, I reached a profound understanding that when it comes to intimacy, novelty doesn't necessarily equate to improvement. There were intimate aspects that Dave intimately understood about me, which Kevin never bothered to explore. Our encounters were simply physical in nature, mere hookups, devoid of the emotional and sensual connection I had experienced before. There were no instances of passionate lovemaking or shared tender moments between us. And now, unexpectedly, I found myself confined in quarantine with him. In the initial months, I tried convincing myself that this arrangement was suitable, but as June 2020 rolled around, the harsh reality of my colossal mistakes started to sink in. Coincidentally, it was also during this time that I revealed to everyone that I had entered into a new relationship, as one would naturally anticipate. Dave was devastated. In a heartfelt email, he expressed his profound pain at the realization that I had seemingly moved on within a short span of 6 months. However, above all else, his utmost desire was for my happiness. During that moment, I yearned to confess everything to him, to come clean about my actions, but I knew it was impossible. I had betrayed his trust, engaged in months of infidelity, and ultimately abandoned him for another person. In essence, I found myself incapable of subjecting him to such pain. Nonetheless, reading his heartfelt words shattered my soul, making me realize the profound loss I had suffered due to my own selfishness. It became clear that my impatience had cost me the presence of this remarkable individual, all because I couldn't muster the patience to simply sit down, remain silent, and wait for his plans to unfold as intended. It appears that fate, in its ironic twists, had something in store. Merely a couple of months after receiving that email, I discovered that Dave had joined forces with two fellow freelancers whom he had collaborated with on previous projects, embarking on the journey of establishing their very own studio. Remarkably, amidst the widespread exodus from Los Angeles, they encountered no difficulties in securing office space for their venture, while still enjoying the flexibility of working from home if they desired. I recently discovered, thanks to a mutual friend in his field, that my ex-partner had released their first project, which was rapidly gaining popularity on the internet. Learning this news left me feeling completely devastated. I had convinced myself that leaving him for Kevin was the right decision, thinking it would bring me a sense of liberation. However, it turned out to be the complete opposite. He was the one who found freedom from a self-centered and demanding partner. Kevin and I eventually separated, nearly a year after I expressed my desire for a divorce to Dave in August 2020. The passionate romance we had quickly faded away into a mere whisper. Spending months together revealed that we were better off as friends rather than as a couple. A month later, I found a new place to call my own, and that's where I have been residing ever since. From a distance, I witnessed Dave slowly rebuilding his life, while I mourned the life I willingly destroyed. I frequently visited his ArtStation profile, and it was a recent share that deeply pained me. The title of the piece was My Muse, and it was a fully rendered illustration of a female's portrait, highly detailed with the watermark label for Cassandra. That's what he used to call me when he'd do portraits of me, his muse. Whoever Cassandra is, she's clearly picked up all of the pieces of Dave I left broken. As I clicked on one of the tags, a remarkable revelation awaited me. Lo and behold, Cassandra, the very same individual whose watermark adorned the artwork, revealed herself to be a digital artist of exceptional skill and talent, rivaling Dave's own artistic prowess. In my absence, he not only discovered the determination to establish his own studio, but also encountered a kindred spirit, a woman who harmonized with his creative nature in ways I could never have imagined. The weight of regret for causing pain to Dave and parting ways with him shall forever accompany me, resting silently within the confines of my heart. Upon encountering that drawing, it stirred something within me, compelling me to compose this post. Despite silently observing this community for countless months, I now realize the depths of my own foolishness, obstinacy, and ignorance. I question whether there is any value in sharing my thoughts here. Reclaiming what I have lost is an impossibility, and even if circumstances had not led to his departure, the truth remains that I cannot turn back time. Revealing the truth would only guarantee his rejection, leaving me no chance of reconciliation. I just hurt so much and I miss him. I chose to leave him for what I thought was the better option when there was never any comparison after the fact. My own selfish needs cost me the love of my life, and I'm left to reflect and learn from this. And I will. I'm well aware hitting post. I'm opening myself up to be crucified. It's not any worse than what I already put myself through every day. Over the past few months, I've been attending therapy sessions in an effort to better handle my emotions and overall well-being. However, one particular issue has been weighing heavily on me, causing immense pain akin to a snake's bite. This pertains to a person who held multiple roles in my life. A dear friend, a personal hero, and my first true love. Regrettably, my own insecurities regarding my perception of marriage led me to distance myself from him, seeking solace in the arms of another man who, as it turned out, couldn't compare to the incredible person Dave was. Now, I'm plagued by the fear that I may never encounter a love of that magnitude again. I simply needed a space to unburden myself from these thoughts. Let it be known to anyone who has pondered or commented on this matter, regardless of whether their remarks have been deleted. I have no intention of pursuing him again or engaging in any form of interaction. He has found happiness, maintains good health, and has discovered a woman who is far more deserving of his love than I could ever be. Once the current school year concludes and my lease on the current apartment expires, my plan is to tender my resignation to the school I am employed with and relocate back to Spokane, which is situated in the northern region. With a vast distance of 1,000 miles separating us, the likelihood of ever crossing paths with him again is reduced to zero. Furthermore, his parents have also relocated to Northern California, further diminishing any chance of encountering him unintentionally. He will never have to face the prospect of seeing or communicating with me in the future. Regarding matters of romance, I believe it is in my best interest to spend some time alone. At 27 years old, I still have ample time to discover love and establish a family when the timing is right. Prioritizing self-improvement is crucial for me at this juncture. Upon returning home, I will seek out a new therapist to continue working through my emotional baggage and continue the process of personal growth. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story.